Welcome everybody to tonight's home clinic. A home clinic is where we grab one quality coach and he presents on one specific subject for you guys to enjoy, and he usually does that from home. If you guys have been enjoying this series and would like to see it continue, we want to ask that you would like and subscribe below. Those things certainly help us to grow and is kind of that feedback to say this is a good thing. Keep this coming. If you have a desire to present in the future, reach out to us on Twitter, DM us. That's at the Chief Pigskin. All right, without further ado, tonight's home clinic. Welcome everybody, Nate Albaugh here, assistant football coach at Unity High School in Tolono, Illinois. Also the producer of the online clinic and this YouTube channel, along with the help of several other coaches that have jumped on board with Chief Pigskin. And super excited today to chat with a guy that has kind of been a Chief Pigskin contact of mine for several years and started following him on Instagram. This is Tom Annett, head coach at Korah Collegiate in Canada. And coach, first of all, welcome. I think this is long overdue that we touch base and talk a little football.
Agree. We're happy to be here, Nate. I've been a longtime follower of Chief Pigskin since it was a website. We bought videos on there. They've helped us tremendously. So we're honored to be a part of it.
Well, I've become a big fan of you guys as I started following you guys online. And that actually, I've been asking you to kind of do this maybe for, I don't know, several months. I said, I want you to speak on what you're doing on Instagram. So I started following Coach on Instagram. And, I follow a handful of people on Instagram. A lot of football coaches are on Instagram. It's like football coaches are all over Twitter, right?
Yes.
But what I noticed, so I took a poll at my school 2 years ago when I first got at this new school. I went to every lunch and I said, what platforms do you use? And I was overwhelmed by how few kids use Twitter. Like none of them use Twitter. And I was like, wait, and it really opened my eyes, and they were all on Instagram or Snapchat. And so I thought, and then of course now TikTok, but I'm like, okay, I have to use this. And that's when I started my Instagram account for my football team. And that's when I started following you. And as I started following you, I'm like, oh my gosh, these guys' Instagram account is killer. More coaches need to be aware of this. So I kind of been reaching out to you for a while to get you to speak on this. Now, you don't have to touch too much on that right now, because I know you're going to talk about that media through there. But I just want to kind of preface that to everybody. Like, that's how I ended up continuing to chase Coach Annett down about speaking on this. Now, I know you're also playing great football. Tell us about the season that you guys had.
Well, the past two seasons have been pretty spectacular. 2018, we went undefeated and won a provincial championship, which I guess would be the equivalent of a state championship in the United States. This past season, same thing. We weren't undefeated, but because we had a couple exhibition games against some American teams, and it's a little bit higher quality football there, but we won a provincial championship again this year. And, we're expected to be pretty good next year as well. So the program's rolling now. It's firing on all cylinders. And we're pretty excited about where we're going.
So tell us where you are located. Where is your school?
We are in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Canada. It's actually a twin city. We are a border town, meaning you cross a bridge over the St. Mary's River, and you're in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. So,
so it touches the Upper Peninsula then?
Yes, the Upper Peninsula. So we're right where Lake Superior and Lake Huron meet.
Okay. Now, so that's in Ontario?
In Ontario,
that's the province.
Correct.
So give us an idea, how many high school football teams are in Ontario, approximately?
Well, Ontario is the most populated province.
Okay.
There's around maybe just under 15 million people in Ontario, but not every high school offers football. I don't have the exact numbers, but I would guess around maybe 200 in the province, or approximately that, are playing football.
And is it classed out? So did you guys win a specific class?
Well, we actually don't do that here, which is a little interesting. The way it works out is we have bowl games. So you have to win your region, kind of no matter what your school population is, which is not ideal, but just with the vast geography of Ontario and the weather restraints as we get later into the year. But we have 8 bowl games in our province, so there's technically 8 provincial champions each year. And They rotate the bowls, so you're playing different regions each year. We played the National Capital Bowl against Ottawa region last year, so that's our nation's capital. Some pretty good football programs there. This past year, we played in the Northern Bowl against an area that's just kind of east of Toronto. So you get to play different regions and kind of see where you match up. It's very interesting. Obviously, there's some regions that are traditionally stronger than others, but I think our program's got some national attention now, and we have some rankings on one of our websites, and we're right in the mix with some of the top programs in the country now.
Well, even so, here in the United States. So I'm an Illinois guy, and this is how most people are. The second you cross a border into a different state, you know nothing about that state's football, right? You know the game still. You don't know who's good or who's known to be good, or what their rules are, what their postseason rules are, because all 50 states have different postseason rules. So now here we are, and I'm talking to a Canadian football coach. You want to talk about clueless, man? And I'm ashamed at how clueless I am of Canada as a whole. Let alone Canadian football. So this is like, I'm diving into a whole new world here. I feel like I could ask you a million questions. Before I ask any more, in case somebody doesn't continue to watch, I want to make sure they at least start following you on Instagram. What is the Korah Instagram account?
It's at Korah Football. So all one word, the at symbol, Korah Football.
Well, I couldn't urge coaches enough to make sure that you start following Coach Annett on Instagram for the sake of your own football team. You need to follow them. I think that anybody in everybody's program should be on Instagram, and probably more so. And maybe we all need to start plugging in and diving into how are we going to use TikTok for our teams as well, because looking over your presentation, I'm like, yes, this is why we need to be there. So I hope that some coaches enjoy this. I'm going to ask you one more question about Canadian ball, I guess. We need to make sure we do another one of these. We'll talk some X's and O's because I have too many questions for you. All right, so you said you played some exhibition games against American teams. How does that work? Because different rules, right? Man and forward motion, playing with 12 instead of 11.
Wow, that was the biggest challenge. I mean, I don't think we played to the level we could just because of the rule differences, right? We had to take a guy off the field. We had an extra down. We had a way smaller field. It's shocking how much the difference in the size of the field. So our guys felt really condensed. And, we do a few things offensively to really capitalize on some of the Canadian rules with motion. So I think when we played those games, we thought we played very well defensively, but we really struggled offensively and had a few, illegal shift penalties. And just because our guys are so used to moving around before the snap. Right. So we struggled offensively big time, but our dilemma is, do we change our whole offense for this one game that means nothing for us? Or do we just do what we do and try and adapt? And it may have hurt our ability to perform in that game, but the experience for our kids, it was worth it.
Now, wait, how many downs do you get in Canadian football?
We got 3 downs. 3 downs.
So special teams are a big on third down?
Usually you do, just like an American team.
2 downs, and then you're going to punt. Wow, it's only 1 down difference, but wow. Okay.
Yeah.
See, isn't that crazy? A whole world. Now, who did you play then? You came down and played who?
We played Escanaba, Michigan, who's traditionally done very well. They've been
Are they in the UP team there?
They're in the UP, yep. And Harbor Springs, Michigan, too. They're a smaller class school, but they tend to do very well. I think they've been in the playoffs the past couple of years.
Wow. That is cool. I like that you guys cross over. Now, how big is Korah?
We're about 800 or so students. We have 7 and 8s in the building too, though, so that bumps our population a little higher. But technically, they're a separate entity. But we do have a few things we can capitalize on having them in the building. They are allowed to weight train with us and things like that. Yeah,
that's pretty great. Well, man, I want to talk more and more football with you, but we got to get started on this, man. Coach is going to talk about, for the most part, kind of using that social media. He's going to, it kind of started around his Instagram account, but he's going to kind of cover a little bit more than that. But you guys need to see this. I'm excited for you. Be sure to ask questions over on the side. Usually this video will premiere on YouTube. So ask questions during the chat and reach out to Coach and make sure you start following Coach. Without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to you, man.
All right, let's do this. All right, we good to go here, Nate?
Yes.
Okay, well, thanks again for the great introduction. The topic of our talk is using Instagram to grow your football program. And I think you're also going to get an inside look in some of the things we do in our program as well that have helped us grow into, like we said, one of the top programs in the country. Just some quick background. I know we already touched on some of these things, but I've coached at Korah since 2010, and we said we're located in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, and we've seen some pretty consistent and steady improvements at Korah since our staff has been there. They were a little bit down before we arrived in 2010. I think they had a string of 5 or so years where they had only 1 win or no win seasons, and like we said, we grew to back-to-back provincial champions, which is the equivalent of a state championship in 2018 and this past season. And there was, I'd say, some significant differences going from a winless program to hitting that 500 mark versus that jump from 500 to undefeated. And I think that's really where Instagram and social media kind of helped us push through that plateau. And you know, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Instagram is the main reason we are where we are today, but it's definitely a key piece of the puzzle. And I think what it has allowed us to do is really amplify all these other factors that have led to our success. So there's the pictures of our teams the past 2 seasons. That was 2018 in Ottawa at the National Capital Bowl, and there we are this past year in Hamilton with our Northern Bowl championship. We're real proud of our athletes, coaches, and all of our supporters. So why Instagram specifically? I want to start by saying that I actually have zero social media background. I've never had Facebook. I've never had a Twitter account. So I'm telling you that just to let you know that you can do this too. These are pretty user-friendly platforms. We're constantly getting better and learning more on how to use them, but it's very easy to pick up. And again, from someone with zero experience in this, it was a couple younger coaches on our staff that suggested it. Instagram was one of the, well, still is probably the most popular platform, along with Snapchat at the time, and like we mentioned now, TikTok. And we know this is one of the best tools on Instagram is some of the analytics where you can see the traffic. And when we post something on Instagram versus some of the other platforms, like the traffic we get on Instagram blows it away. So that's proof right there that this is the way to go. Kids are not on Facebook and Twitter. They think those are for old people. And I see a lot of programs doing a great job on those 2 platforms, which is great because you can still reach a lot of people, but you're not going to be reaching the kids as much. And one of our main reasons for developing an Instagram was to really reach out to that 12 to maybe 17, 18-year-old demographic. And we felt that it offers the perfect balance of the ability to use media like pictures and video and some text in the captions. Snapchat, TikTok, they're great too, but it doesn't give you the ability to use all 3 of those in the same way. So why specifically did our program need Instagram? Well, we needed to increase our roster numbers. I'll take you back to 2016 prior to our team Instagram account. And we had an incredible season. We made it to our city finals, which is the second round of our playoffs. And we had 24 players. We were actually down to 20 in that game due to some injuries. And we were playing a powerhouse team that had won a provincial championship the year before and went on to another provincial championship game. They had 40-some players, multiple players on their roster went on to play at the next level versus none on our team. We really had no business being in that game. But we played probably the best game we played since I've been at Korah, and we just did a heck of a job, and we ended up losing by 2 points. We actually had a chance to tie it up with a 2-point conversion with only a few seconds left. We didn't get it, but you know, after that game, we lost the game, but we felt like we won the battle. And after we were kind of done patting ourselves on the back for the job we did, we said, you know, it would be nice to keep going and win. And in order to do that, we came to the conclusion that we needed more players. You know, with that roster that year, we felt we squeezed the lemon as much as we could. We got everything we could out of our players that year, but if we wanted to keep going, we needed more players and maybe some more talent on our roster. So we needed Instagram promote and really sell our program to help it grow. And there's a lot of kids, even within our own school and definitely within the community, that had no idea what we were doing in our program. We thought we were doing, well, we know we were doing a lot of great things. A lot of it football related, but a lot of it beyond football too. And people on the outside didn't know that. So what Instagram allowed us to do is, you know, let people know, kids within our school, what it's all about, attract maybe some athletes that are from other sports traditionally, but also kids across the entire city. I don't know how things work in every state, but we have schools of choice here. So out of grade 8, a kid can basically go to any high school they want in our city. They may be responsible for their transportation, but out of grade 8, you have a choice. And there's even some cases of some excellent athletes driving past our school to go to other schools down the street and, further away. And we really believed in what we were doing. We believed we were doing things better than a lot of programs, and we wanted the public to be aware of that. So really what Instagram allowed us to do is sell it and expand our reach. And we found many, many other benefits beyond that that we'll talk about in this presentation. So another kind of point here on why we chose Instagram, as I was doing a little bit of research for this, the graphic that kept coming up was this one on the bottom here about attention spans. And the average attention span of a human being in 2000 was 12 seconds, and only 15 years later down to 8 seconds. Who knows now in 2020, maybe 7 seconds. And that's shorter than the attention span of a goldfish, which is 9 seconds. So the days of old of, trying to communicate with kids and parents with like newsletters or these long emails, it just doesn't work anymore. And I'll tell you from my own experience, I got 2 daughters, young daughters. They're involved in competitive skiing, competitive dance. They play soccer. They play musical instruments. Their school. The amount of literature I get sent to me, I mean, keeping up with all of it is a full-time job. And I'll be honest, I don't read all of it. Thank God my wife is ultra organized and she does a great job. But if I'm not reading all this literature, it's unfair for me to expect our players and our parents to read it too. So all the best or most popular social media platforms now, what they do is wisely limit length because they know that people aren't going to read it, right? The people who develop these platforms, they know more about this than we do. And their goal is to keep you on the platform as long as possible. That's why they limit the length. So it kind of keeps us in check as coaches too. And sometimes we have to find more creative messages or creative means of capturing their attention and really summarizing a message we want to get across. Something else we noticed is if we use apps like Remind to send out group texts, or even the service on Huddle to mass message or mass text your team. But, we'll see maybe 50, 60% of the kids are seeing the message when we send it via Remind or Huddle versus when we send it on Instagram as a story or a DM to our players, we're getting over 90% people seeing it. So the kids are going to Instagram anyway, so there's a greater likelihood of them seeing it. So I put this graphic up kind of as a joke here. I put a typical, stereotypical, pardon my language, but douchebag coach. This guy who's all about him and, come play for me, I'll get you scholarships and my playbook's the best. And, if you're someone who doesn't want to get on social media, I got news for you. This guy is on social media and he's an expert at it. And he's going to use social media to really try and lure your players into his program. And maybe his program isn't, have the best interests of kids at heart. I believe in our program. I think we do a lot of incredible things. So we're not going to give this guy a monopoly over this incredibly powerful marketing tool or influencing tool to, try and get our players, and sometimes they'll try and lure players to transfer out of your program to go play for them. So, whether you like social media or not, the reality is it's here to stay. And, some kids are definitely on it too much, and we'll talk about that, but we're not going to win this battle. It ain't going away. It's here to stay. So you're kind of left with the choice of adapt or die. If you don't like social media and you're not getting on this train, while other people are, and they're going to have a major leg up on you. So I put this slide up because, like I said, I had zero experience with social media prior to 2017. We started our account, and I think I made a few mistakes being overcautious. You're constantly hearing about, maybe your union or administration warning you of the dangers of social media. But I mean, that's how the world operates now. In fact, I think it's probably one of the safest methods to communicate because everything you say on there is archived and time-stamped versus a private conversation. It's not. So I heard PJ Fleck speak recently, and he made reference to some of these major companies like Uber, Airbnb. And he said, 25 years ago, would you ever just hop in a car with a stranger and expect them to take you somewhere? Or if you were going on a vacation, would you stay in some random family's house that you never met? Probably not, but those are commonplace now. Even things like Tinder for dating, which older people like us still think that's kind of taboo, but it just seems normal for kids now. And so I think we were overcautious. One of the biggest mistakes I made when I started this is that I made our account private, meaning only people who requested to follow us could see what we posted. And we just had our players and some kids we wanted to play for us and some alumni on there. And a couple alumni said, why is it private? Like, we're trying to share the stuff. You're posting great content. We can't. You should open it up. So I did. And that's really when kind of the floodgates opened. And we just saw all kinds of benefits stem from that. So I think you don't need to keep it private. Get it out there. And a lot of teams have mission statements for their program. We took kind of the same philosophy. What's the mission statement for our Instagram account? Well, it's to celebrate and promote our program and players. And if you're ever unsure about, should I post this or not? Well, here's what the approach I take. I say, would I say this in front of our entire school? Now, notice I said school, not our whole community, because there's definitely some shameless self-promotion that happens here. Stuff I probably wouldn't say in public in front of other coaches and players, but if this was a pep rally and our students, our players, our administration, our teachers there, would I say this stuff? And that's what it is. This is basically a giant online pep rally. We're just trying to hype up and sell our program. So I kind of narrowed this down into six main areas that we feel that Instagram can help your program. And they are recruiting. We definitely got more players in our program. Branding, so much emphasis now on culture and ingraining your culture. I think this is an excellent platform to do that. Improving off-season training participation. This is probably the number one benefit we got from our Instagram account. The numbers went up exponentially once we started doing this. Gain support. People in the community are buying into what we're doing in our program. And, it's an excellent way to get buy-in. We'll show you some examples of that. Networking. We connected with excellent coaches, leaders, alumni, boosters. Social media is meant for this connection and interacting with people. And last is improve relationships and communication. We get almost like a window into the lives of our players, and it really helps us strengthen those relationships with them. So before we get into those six, I put this post up here because some people are asking, what should I post and when should I post? Well, our kind of rule there is stay in the media cycle. I have a picture of the Kardashians up here, and they're experts at that, right? I mean, they're always on TV for something. You go to the grocery store, they're on the cover of every magazine, and they've made a fortune with that. If they kind of disappear for a while, a scandal breaks, and, there they are again. So, we're not the Kardashians, but we take that approach of the more often people are seeing and talking about our program and our brand, the better. So we post almost daily, sometimes a couple times a day, at minimum, probably 3-4 times a week. It slows down a bit in the summer, but we want to stay in the media cycle. In the bottom right here, I got Gary Vaynerchuk. He's kind of the guru on social media, advertising and marketing. And what you'll constantly hear him say is content, content, content. Content drives social media. If you want to grow your brand, grow your business, get numbers, you just have to produce a lot of content that's entertaining, that's fun. He also talks about being genuine and being yourself. Okay, and that's something we do. We have a lot of fun with our posts too, and you'll see that with some examples. Another thing he's an expert at, Gary Vee's an expert at, is developing a ton of content and using it across multiple platforms. Now that's something we got to do a better job of here at Korah, but he has his model here where he takes some long form content, whether that's him doing a speaking presentation, a podcast, whatever, and then they'll cut that up into little clips, sound bites, images, memes, and then he'll distribute it across multiple forms of social media. So one event he can turn into hundreds, sometimes even thousands of different posts. Now, if we were to look at this from a football perspective, this long form content could be a game. Now, the more media you have of this, meaning great pictures, video from multiple angles, the more powerful it becomes to develop this micro content and then distribute it. So, one thing people will think there is like, well, what do I post? I'm actually having to pull myself back and saying, slow down, man. You can't post, oh, that's always posting stuff. And I think that's the way to go about it. So let's get into those 6 factors. The first one is recruiting. I told you in 2016, we were down to only 24 player roster there. We started our Instagram account in 2017. I think February 2017, and that 2017 season, we were up to 36 players. A year later, 41 players. This past season, 43 players, and we're projecting in the high 40s for next season. Another kind of indicator that this is working is incoming transfers. Locally and out of town, we had a record number of transfers on a roster this year, and we're not actively trying to get people to transfer, but I think it's really attracting people to our program, and mainly with out-of-town players. I think we had 5 this year that moved to our city and chose to come play for us because they checked out our football Instagram account and they liked what they saw. And in terms of recruiting, I assume unless you're at a private school, traditional recruiting in your area is very similar to us, and it's against the rules. But what we are allowed to do is promote our own school and our program. And oftentimes that is the best strategy to recruit. So what Instagram allows us to do, and I think this is like a key point here, is we get an unbelievable all-out recruiting pitch in just 2 seconds. And that recruiting pitch is, hey, check us out on Instagram. We're at Korah Football. So someone hears that, they go log in, they're seeing all the great things we do. They're getting a really good idea of what we're about. They're seeing us capitalize on the success and gaining momentum on the things we're doing great in our school. And I know everyone here is, probably tried to recruit a player in the halls, right? You're between classes. He's rushing a class, you're rushing, it's 20 seconds. It's very difficult to do. But now I could just say, check us out on Instagram. And a lot of times now we find most of the kids are already following us because, we got a pretty good following, pretty good hype around our program, and kids share the posts. So more often than not, they're already on there. And I'll tell you, within our school now, there's not very many athletes, like top athletes that aren't playing football. Whereas in the past, there was all kind of athletes that we didn't have in our program. So we use this at grade 8 nights too. If you're talking to parents or someone has questions, it just makes it super easy and efficient. And put your Instagram address everywhere. Like if we're handing out schedules, rosters, forms going home, always put it on there so more people can see it and check it out. So what do you post to get kids to actually come to your program? Well, you got to sell it. And we take this approach of make where you are the big time. It's not focus on what you don't have. Get excited about what you do have. And, we took this approach of just hyping everything we have. And it's almost like this act as if approach. Things just naturally started getting better. And where we are is kind of the big time now where we are. We are definitely one of the, and we take the approach of let's market and promote like a major Division I program. One of the national websites in Canada that really talks about amateur football in our country, the guy who runs it told me once, if you want coverage for your team or your program, you have to provide the info. That was great advice, because if you put it out there, it makes it so much easier for media outlets to report on you and cover you. So we try and get as much out there as we can, and the amount of media coverage we've gotten as a result has gone up incredibly. I have here, be the world's greatest hype man. So here's probably one of the best known hype mans in the world, Flavor Flav from the rap group and Public Enemy, sorry, almost forgot. And he's, he does a great job. He's there hyping up the crowd, getting them excited. He's interesting. He's kind of in your face. Well, we take that approach to hyping up our team, right? And it's shameless self-promotion, like I said. Korah has the best everything. We have the best equipment, the best facilities. And it's over the top sometimes, but I told you, when we first started saying it, I was, should I be saying this? But a lot of it's come true. We have unbelievable equipment now. We are one of the strongest teams in Canada, if not the strongest now. So keep selling it and hyping it up. And again, guys, post everything positive and sell it. And when I say everything, I mean everything. When you get new equipment, we do these unboxing videos. Why do we do those? Well, when I was buying something for my own personal use in our house, I go on YouTube to research it, and all of a sudden there's all these unboxing videos. Well, if people like that, let's give it to them. So every time our equipment comes in from Rydell, whoever, I pull a kid from the hallway, say, hey, open this while I film it. And then we spice it up with some music and graphics, and that becomes a post, right? New team gear, logos, or facilities, anything great in the weight room we pump up. Awards, whether that's football or non-football related. Fundraisers. Hype up other teams in your school, everything. It's an online pep rally. So I have here sell the sizzle, not the steak, but I wish it said sell the sizzle and the steak, because again, I really believe in our program if our program's a steak, but sometimes you got to lure in the masses with the sizzle, right? And you'll see some of these tactics we use to get people interested and hyped up about our program. So let's get into a few posts. This is how a post would look on Instagram with the caption on the side. And I think it's really important to recruit to especially the younger kids, because if you get a kid to come into grade 9 and play in your program, the chances of him playing for varsity increase, exponentially. So we really try and target that group. So here's one, and we got graphics. Remember, we got 7 seconds is the average attention span, so we got to keep them interested. Here's our JV guys, and they're getting new uniforms. So I'll mute that now, but there's always music there, and we're trying to get them excited about our new uniforms, right? And that's a post. Here's our senior uniforms. One thing, we actually have 2 other jerseys, and that's something we talk about. More uniform combinations than any team in Canada. But you could use the interactive features where you say, hey guys, vote. What's your favorite uniform combination we got? Take advantage of that. Sell everything. Sell everything, and this is something maybe you think, you wouldn't post about. We got a new washer and dryer here, and we'll put this music. So we got Outcast, So Fresh and So Clean playing there. And, we're selling it. And you wouldn't think to post about a washer and dryer, but, our kids like this post. They got a laugh out of it. And we're talking about, come to Korah, we'll do your laundry. We're just trying to sell the program there. Stainless steel drum, is that even a good thing? Whatever. I'm hyping it up. Unboxings, okay? Again, get these on. Post everything. Stay in the media cycle. Okay, here we are posting or unboxing some helmets, and Rydell Speed Flexes are kind of a cool helmet now. So we talk about how we have more than any other team in Canada, and we take player safety we post about too. Okay, here's one, a line painter. How would this even be something interesting? Well, we turn into a post. We put Riding Dirty by Chamillionaire. Kids gotta laugh. We stay in the media cycle, right? Kicking tees. How is that even something interesting? Well, we put Beastie Boys, Kick It, and there's our kicking tees. Again, sell everything. Stay in the media cycle. Whenever you do something fun, to promote fun. Compete is one of our core values. We'll do a lot of competitive drills. Here's our athletes doing this harness tug of war. Okay, and of course, we'll put some intense music. We have Metallica blaring. And they're getting after it, right? Kids enjoy it. We're going to put it on there. We'll do this tug of war too. We use the tricep press down rope, and they're trying to pull the other guy out of this circle. Okay, kids that like this stuff, put it on there. It's fun. It's exciting. It's different. I know a lot of programs have been doing this one too. It's medicine ball, volleyball over the uprights. Our rules, you can only hold the med ball for 1 second, and you're allowed 1 pass. Okay, we had a bye in the playoffs last year, which is weird. So we played some of this. The kids loved it. They like it. We're going to post it. We had a coach here that had some connections and got us these box seats at a Sioux Greyhound game, which is hockey's a big deal here in Canada. So we had all you can eat food, free refreshments. That's something our program has that's special, it's unique, and it's exciting. We're absolutely going to post it. Team DJ. Well, we got this incredible speaker a couple years ago. I think it's called the Soundbox 2, and it really pumps music. If you're looking for a sound system, it's a little pricier, but it was well worth the investment. And we started advertising for a team DJ. Again, something cool. Kids like it. We got a bunch of people apply to be our DJ. Our DJ wasn't at every practice, but we got them a couple times a week. And it's an excellent tool for selling our program and some of the fun things that we do. Props. I mean, I know everyone's got props now since the Miami turnover chain. We got them all. Why? Because kids like them. And here we got our heavyweight belt, and we got the Rocky music playing when we introduced that. We've got a house call phone here. If you have a special teams touchdown or a touchdown over 50 yards, you get to put the phone up to your ear. We've got a pickaxe. You get interception in the game, you come up, you get the pickaxe, and then we have a bunch of video of our guys getting interceptions in that post. And I even use my daughters here having fun with this one for our turnover chain. Picked off by the Colts. And there's my oldest with the turnover chain. And yeah, it's about having fun. have fun, entertain people, exploit success. We're fortunate to have a lot of success recently. One thing we do, I think, a really good job of is our banquets. Here is some footage of it. I'm very lucky that our parent reps and some of our other staff do most of the work behind this, but we're one of the few programs that, you know, really puts a lot of effort into this. So we're going to exploit that. We're not like doing it in our cafeteria at the school. We get an actual banquet hall, a formal meal. We had 220 people there last time. And of course, if you have some success, show off the hardware, show it off. Same thing here. I see some programs where they have some success and maybe they'll make one post about, you know, a trophy or something. We're going to make multiple posts about it. We're trying to capitalize on that success and gain momentum. You know, and of course we'll have music and graphics. Something we do after we won recently is we test our players for next year, and we said the player who tests the best, has the highest total, gets his name on that poster with the ring, and they're kind of in there forever. You can see the player's name there, so that's kind of a big deal in our program too. Again, the rings, I'll see some programs that have won rings and there might be one small post about it. We're going to post about it 7 or 8 times. Why? Because rings are cool. Kids love them, and we'll put music in it, and we'll tag the company that made the rings, Bearian Championship Rings, and they appreciate the press. They'll help us too. They gave us these graphics so we can celebrate the guy who won this year to get his name on the poster that's going to be in our Hall of Fame. And, you know, some of these things, like, they've helped us too. They have a program to offer rings to maybe some kids that can't afford them. Well, we've developed this relationship just by tagging them in some of our posts, and they've helped us a lot with that. This one's an interesting one. It's an aerial photograph of our school's campus, but what's interesting, I'm hoping you can see my cursor here, is our school property line actually cuts off here. This is city property, and our city just proposed to build a brand new twin pad hockey arena right here. And this happens to be an indoor turf facility that belongs to the city. You saw a clip of our guys competing in there earlier. And we are blessed to have this so close to our school. And, you know, we pay to go in there. They give us a great rate because we're there in non-peak hours. But man, what an advantage. So absolutely, we're going to exploit that. And we actually put this graphic when you first go to our profile page on Instagram. There's something called highlights, but basically I can put this picture as one of the first things they see. Right? And we're talking about best athletic facilities in Canada. And I know we're not a big 6A school in Texas. We don't have those budgets, but you know, how many schools are there that probably have a twin pad arena and an indoor turf facility on their campus, right? Technically not our campus, but we're going to sell it that way. In terms of recruiting too, not just recruiting players to our program, but helping players get to the next level, Instagram's been an incredibly valuable tool. We've had unprecedented contact with university and college coaches since we started this. Many universities are using Instagram to communicate with our players. I don't know the rules in the NCAA or college, but our coaches can use it, and they use it a lot because they know that's where the players are. So anytime any of our players are getting recruited or a program visits our school or a player signs, of course, we're going to hype that like crazy. And, you know, people see that, and something we hashtag is get recruited at Korah. Now, I know I kind of mocked the coach in an earlier slide about that, you know, but, you know, not everyone has the talent to play at the next level, but something I feel strongly about is if a kid does, I think our program is going to do everything possible to give them that opportunity. And we want people in the community to know that. People talk about it, people share that information, and it in turn attracts more people to our program. Another thing is that these coaches are following Korah football. You know, sometimes they'll post on our posts, and we love that. Our players see that university coaches are watching what they do here, and it's opportunities for them to just showcase their talents more at our workouts. You know, sometimes we'll post a kid doing something impressive in the weight room, and all of a sudden a strength coach from the university starts following him, and that's great. Okay, that's incredible. Here's a post that we made. We had a big coaching clinic and combine last summer, and after the combine, the coaches just kind of stuck around for a little Q&A. And anytime I saw some of our players talking to a university coach, I took a shot, right? And I put their logo. Now, is every one of these kids in the picture going to play university football? Probably not, but definitely there are some. But this is great PR, right? We're giving you an opportunity, and sure enough, there's a couple kids probably that never thought they were going to play football beyond high school, but after this, they're considering it. So this was a great post for us, a great publicity for our program. And anytime a school comes and visits you, university or college comes to visit your campus, put it out there. I think the year this happened, these guys visited maybe another school in our city too, but there was nothing promotional about it. We hyped it up. Look who came to our school today, and we have a pretty good relationship with this program. They recruited one of our players. We want the community to know that. And here's just an example. Here's one of our players doing something impressive in the weight room, and here's a university coach commenting on it, right? And our players see that. That's great. So they're watching. We have so many like award things or players of the game. And again, more props. Okay. Like we have offensive player of the game gets this like toy sword. We have defensive player of the game gets this battle axe. Special teams player of the game gets this spear. I don't have it in the picture here, but we have hustle player of the game gets this mace with spikes in it. Why? Well, it's badass. Right? We got our big hit gets the heavyweight belt. They can wear that at school for the week. And our offensive, we have a specific award for offensive lineman of the game. We got this chain. We used to have the bottle of syrup around it, but this guy here actually with the shades welded this tough looking skull, which I love. And we put it on there, so we're posting these after every game, who the players of the game are. We're putting our table that shows from every game we had that year who won these awards. It's just more opportunities to showcase our players, especially the ones that want to play at the next level, right? Anyone wins the pickaxe house call award, we'll get pictures of them with those items too. If you have players that play in some of these prospect games, make it a post, right? Of course, we jazz it up. We'll put music on it. We'll hype it up. This one was nationally televised. Of course, we're going to put that. Excellent publicity for our program. Oh yeah, that's enough on the recruiting. Let's get into the branding part of how Instagram can really benefit you. At the bottom here, I have 3 coaches that I think are kind of geniuses really in this branding and developing a culture. And PJ Fleck at Minnesota. This is Randy Jackson, who wrote the Culture Defeat Strategy books, and Urban Meyer. And all of these guys have done an excellent job of instilling their culture into their program and selling it too. And we've learned so much from them, especially Randy Jackson's books. And we actually use Tough People Win as our team credo. And we put that everywhere. Okay. It's on almost all of our graphics. It's hashtag. We short form it TPW as well. And you'll see in some of the examples of posts here later on, you'll see it frequently. Again, we don't have these giant budgets where we can fill our entire school with signage. We have some up in the school, but I actually think it's with Instagram, it's almost more beneficial in that you can post about it and graphics constantly, and your kids are going to see it every day, right? Because they're going to Instagram anyway. Whereas if it's kind of hanging in the schools, you stop noticing it after a while and you just kind of walk by it. So it's just another way to constantly ingrain this and let our players see it. We have core values as well. We have 5 of them: commitment, compete, toughness, teamwork, family. We'll make posts that specifically target one of these core values. They were player selected. Again, any opportunity we have to kind of show examples, and we will highlight it on our Instagram. Language is powerful. Okay. I heard Randy Jackson say that at a clinic presentation. He talked about how he went, I think, to Alabama and saw, a thing that was maybe the linebackers' mission statement or goals. And it didn't say, our goal is to be really good tacklers. No, it was our goal is to terrorize opponents. That's intense. Language is powerful. And you'll see us take advantage of that, especially in our weightlifting posts, which a lot of thought goes into what we put there. PJ Fleck, music is powerful too. He talks about his practices. All the music that gets played has a purpose. They put a lot of thought into their playlists there. And I'd be lying if I said the music on every single post I make has, a deep meaning to it, but oftentimes it does. You saw the example there of, the washing machine, so fresh and so clean, but sometimes they relate definitely to our culture. We do unity periods where we have players during practice sometimes have a break off into groups of 2 and have a private conversation about something important in their lives. And we'll be cranking Queen Latifah, UNITY on the speaker, or, anything related to family where we're playing We Are Family, and that's pumping. But it's just opportunities to really ingrain our culture into their DNA. Here's some examples of just like t-shirts or logos we have. I highly recommend you save something from a company that makes a logo or artwork for you, tell them you'll tag them on your social media if you can get a copy of that logo, and then save them, because these are invaluable to add as overlays on all of our posts. But every opportunity, sometimes it's subtle. You look at this one on the bottom left here, TPW tattooed on the Colt's bicep. This is one of our strength and conditioning shirts, our position group shirts. We have TPW bumpers on the front of our helmets. Our core values were in the inside of our championship rings and our credo. Same here, along with some themes from last year. We have our credo written around the ring there. Wall wraps, you name it, but we get that on as much stuff as we can. Just as a side note too, I see some other programs posting graphics or quotes, and sometimes it'll just be a generic background, or even like a player from another school or like an NCAA program. Don't to get a picture of your players and put that powerful quote on there. This is like a new series, I guess, if you will, that we started on our Instagram called Korah Quotables, where I take a quote that one of our players said that really had a lot of meaning or impact on our team, or a theme for the week that kind of one player really exemplifies. And this just becomes so much more powerful now when players see our players on the picture and building our brand. So I'd highly encourage you to do that versus just posting generic pictures or copying something from somewhere else. And of course, we have hashtag TPW on all of these posts as well. Hashtags, this is somewhere where, I'll admit I didn't know what hashtags were, how to use them when I first started, and I used them wrong, but I kind of just stuck with it now. Hashtags can be searched. You can follow specific hashtags, but instead I just use it as another opportunity to get our language out there and our culture. These are things we're constantly telling our players. You won't see every one of these hashtags in every post, but you'll see some of them along with others. Generally, they have an emoji tag to them too. Kids communicate through emojis now quite a bit. So, a lot of these will have emojis connected to them as well. I'm not going to go through all of them, obviously, but if you have questions, you can ask me about them later. But they all have a meaning and a purpose, usually about themes or beliefs in our program. Okay, let's get into the next way that Instagram can really help improve your program. And I think that's off-season training participation. This was by far the #1 benefit to our program. If you looked at our Instagram account, you would probably think that we're a strength training team that happens to play football. At least 50% of everything we post is about strength training. It's part of our culture. We believe in it. We think it's fundamental to our success. So we're absolutely going to sell it. I'd go so far as to say our participation quadrupled since we started Instagram, especially getting younger groups to start earlier too. And I have down here, you can catch more flies with honey than vinegar. I kind of did things wrong at first, and I made the mistake of taking the approach of almost guilting or shaming players who missed the team workouts, and that just didn't work. I'd even go to the exits at the end of the school day and try and track down people trying to leave the building. And with some advice and guidance and talking to some mentors, we took the opposite approach. Let's just reward the heck out of the kids who do buy in. We'll make posts about them. We'll pump them up. We'll give them t-shirts. We'll put them on boards. We'll give them first pick of equipment when we hand it out. And that has worked so much better. And that's definitely the approach you want to take if you're trying to grow your numbers in the weight room. Our players love getting hyped up for their feats of strength. Okay. And I've always said the best motivation is progress. If you get a kid seeing progress in the weight room, they're pumped. But even more so when other people notice, right? A girl comes up to one of our players in the hall and notices his t-shirt's getting a little tighter. That guy's hooked, man. He's locked in now. Or we'll post videos when a kid hits a PB and maybe just another teacher in the hallway brings it up. Wow, that was impressive what you did in the weight room the other day. So when kids see progress or see other people noticing their progress, that's absolutely the most powerful motivator for getting kids in the weight room. And Instagram allows us to help them get that out there. I have down here too, only cool if we post it. I don't know if this is a regional thing, but for some reason, if our kids post, on their own Instagram account, them doing something impressive, it's not cool, or it immediately fills up with 20 sarcastic comments from their friends like, "We get it, bro, you lift," or, "NFL, sign this man immediately." But if we post it, it's kind of shields them from that criticism, right? Or those humble brags, I guess you could say. And our kids love that. And I know, because sometimes they'll come up to me and say, "Coach, how come you didn't post my squat video yet?" Right? So keep that in mind too. And I have hashtag core lifts. That's part of our culture. Again, we lift weights. I think that's something we strive to do better than any program in the country. And that's why it gets so much attention on our Instagram account. I have here meatheads, just guys being dudes. Obviously, our guys aren't actual meatheads, right? We have some very intelligent young men in our program, but just kind of that culture of, being a man, letting off some testosterone and having fun in there. We celebrate that. We have a lot of fun with it. Our players love being in the live is kind of an interesting place too. There's like really high Italian population. If I had to compare it somewhere in the United States, maybe like kind of like a Jersey meathead type atmosphere, not exactly like Jersey Shore or anything, but and that's kind of how I was. I love being in the weight room. That's a little bit of me wearing off on our program. And so we hype that up and have some fun with it. And I'll show you some examples in a minute. So every team workout is a post. We only train as a team twice a week with our varsity guys. Our JV guys go twice a week as well. But almost all of our players are lifting more on their own. I think we ended up having 50-some, close to 60 team workouts last season. And every single one becomes a post, right? And it celebrates the guys that were there, could possibly expose some of the guys who weren't there. Anytime there's some impressive lifts and just progress, if it's a younger guy who doesn't have much on the bar, but if he progress, we'll try and definitely pay attention to that. And we could theme it up too. You can have old school, music one day. I've seen some other programs do costumes. That's something I'd really like to do, like with WWE Day or heavy metal costumes. I think that's great. Just have fun. And like most programs, and we have our strength clubs, we have our weight room boards. You make 25 workouts, you get a t-shirt. Okay. And we celebrate the heck out of guys when they earn these. Earn everything is a big common theme in our program. Another thing we do that's pretty cool is our combine, and we really hype this event up. I'm on the morning announcement saying combine, combine, combine. And it's to the point where I feel like every kid in the school is kind of saying it along with me in those 2 weeks leading up to it. But we open this event up to every kid in the school, male, female, football players, non-football players. And I think it's been a really good tool for us. We'll find sometimes some diamonds in the rough. Some kid will come out, all of a sudden he's running like a 4.7. And now we have all of our coaches there, all of our players. Hey man, you should be playing football, right? So we're going to keep opening up to everyone. It's been a great event for us. So I talked about the power of language earlier. You see some of these words here: destroy, annihilate, crush, savage, compete, rage, gains. Okay, and we have fun too. When I'm walking around with the phone filming, I'll say Swole Patrol, and pies. We call the weights pies, right? If someone's benching 2 pies a side, that's a big deal. Being elite, we talk a lot. If a guy's doing shrugs, we say shrug life, or you're in the trap house. Okay, I'm not going to go over them all, but we have a lot of fun. We call our we're the Colts, Korah Colts. We call our weight room the Bulk Barn. We hype that up. So just to show you a couple examples here, here's our elite linebacker, not just linebacker, elite, Jacob Church, destroying 405, right? Strongest team in Canada. We usually got some badass music going too. Okay, here's another example. Rage, Thick Thursday, I think, is this workout. Bowen's not benching 225, he's beating up 225, right? We got, the diesel there, eat. These guys got not 3 pies aside, 3 cookies aside. Unleash the beast. We have with the emojis, right? And I think we end it with strongest team in Canada. Yeah, there it is with a cool graphic, right? We're always hyping this up. So again, strongest team in Canada, it's something we just started saying, and now it's basically become a reality, okay? Overhype it. Every workout is a post. Okay, so this would be one post where I just have different footage. We'll get some impressive stuff here. And, these guys are reverse grip benching, so we'll put that up, 235. And we'll post the actual workout too. Again, lots of graphics. The language is powerful. Most of them have music. Okay, this is an interesting one here I want to highlight. You'll see if this kid, he actually has a cast on his hand there. And when he's squatting, and he's one of our hockey players, and he has a cast on, and he missed one of our first workouts after hockey season. I said, Colton, why weren't you there? He holds up his hand. Coach, I have a cast. I can't do anything. So I dig into our archives a year earlier, one of our posts where one of our best players had a bigger cast on, right? And, I sent him that, and one of our themes there is no BCD, no blame, complain, defend, or deny. And Another one we say is doesn't matter, get better, right? You got a cast on, you got 3 other limbs that work great. Let's find a way. And he was in there at the next workout, working hard. So, again, here's just another example of a workout. This is all one post. I'll just let it go here so you can see some of the language, right? Raw power. We got the raw stakes. Power. We always talk about developing explosive power, hitters, skulls. That's badass. Team speed off the charts. And there's the workout. Power of language. If it's important, we track it. Something I heard Randy Jackson talk about was back when Art Briles coached the high school team. He went and visited it, and there was just so many records and things posted everywhere for every little thing you can think of, like even how long it took a guy to get across on these monkey bars. And that just tells players that it's important if you track it. Now, we don't track that much stuff, but we do track, what we think are the main lifts. Cleans are included in there, and we'll let the kids know. And again, we'll celebrate. We won't show maybe some of the guys that weren't progressing, but we'll absolutely celebrate the guys that are progressing, right? And we'll put that up. Here's another cool one. We just tracked how many workouts our guys completed. We just had a little thermometer and we colored it in red. 30 guys showed up to the work points on this, and we had some fun with it. We just keep posting at the end of our workout, showing how close we are to our goal, and we blew it out of the water, right? We put some fun music. So that was a post. Something impressive, you're going to put it on there, right? So here's Jacob Jerk destroying 615 pounds. Okay, that. Okay, here's another guy. Strength Freak is a T-shirt we got. If you can squat 400, you get or another feat of strength, you get a Strength Freak shirt. So we're going to hype it up, put some music on it. You got certified unit there. That's a term our kids were throwing around. When someone's jacked, they're like, that guy is an absolute unit. So we latched on, right? We brand it, strongest high school team in Canada, the power of language and music. Okay, again, compete. We don't do a lot of funky stuff in the weight room. We stick to the basics a lot, but sometimes we'll do some fun things there, and we'll definitely post it. Some relay races, pulling the pop-up dummies. This is a really good one we got from Jim Wendler from Elite FTS. He's one of the top powerlifting coaches, was an excellent powerlifter himself, former football player, but he started coaching a high school team in Ohio, and he talked about how he had to adapt his training to these high school kids. And something we really got on board with was goblet squats. And one of the challenges they have for their varsity players is you got to get the 100-pound dumbbell and goblet squat it 50 times. You can take breaks. The only rule is the dumbbell can't touch the ground. And we put this as a board. We just started this. We're definitely going to do more of it. But here's a grade 9 kid last year getting it, which is super impressive. And I'll let this play here. He gassed out at the end. Usually when a kid, we tell him if you do that, you don't got to finish the workout. You're done for the day, and he'll get his name on the board there. That's an excellent one I'd encourage you to incorporate in your program. Again, here's some of our T-shirts. You make 25 workouts, you get this. If it's year 2, you make 25, you get this one. I was designing the year 3 one here before COVID struck. This is our strength club. We have a series of 10 feats of strength. If you can get any 3, you get this shirt. And there's that strength freak shirt I talked about earlier. You want to be a strength freak, you got either bench press 300 plus, squat 400 plus, deadlift 500 plus, or clean 250 plus. And here's our strength club board. We got to adapt a few of these now, bump the clean up. That was very low. But 225 bench, 315 squat, 275 front squat, 405 deadlift, 200-pound push press. That will be 225 clean, 30-inch vertical, 9-foot broad jump, 20 chin-ups, sub 4840. You can get in any 3, right? So some of the smaller guys can sneak in these, bigger guys more often these. You get in any 3, you get a shirt. We got our record boards too. And whenever someone earns one of these shirts, we hype it up like crazy, right? Sometimes we'll even put a post, who's next? Maybe we had just a barrage of kids who earned them within the past few weeks. So we get excited about that. Here's our combine. We have winners. We do it by grade level. So we get points based on each event. Just a standard combine, vertical, broad jump, bench reps, pro agility, 40 time. And we pick a top performer for each grade to get a shirt. And we'll hype that up. I told you it's been an excellent event for us. Open to all students. Of course, now with COVID-19, the new thing is home workouts. If you check out our Instagram page, and people like the more creative ones. So we post those, absolutely celebrate our guys that are training at home. Got the tires here. I don't know how safe this home squat rack is, but still very impressive. Here's probably the most Canadian workout ever, clean and pressing a snowmobile. But a lot of those posts are happening this time of year. Next way we believe Instagram can really help your program is it can help you gain support. It's really an opportunity to highlight the good things you're doing in your program, especially the things beyond football, whether that's leadership or character development, things you're doing to improve school culture. We promote other extracurriculars and other sports in the school. Ultimately, though, this builds buy-in from your school staff, the teachers, the community. And the more buy-in you have, more people on your side, the better. Have Donald Trump here with the Twitter sign around him. Love him or hate him, you have to admit he absolutely changed the game with what he's done with Twitter, right? It allows him to create his own PR. It allows him to get the last word out there. Now, we don't feel like we're necessarily being criticized necessarily like he is, but sometimes we want to get something in the media and there's just not an opportunity to. Well, Instagram allows us to do that. We can give credit to people behind the scenes like our medical staff, our parent reps. We can showcase the O-line. Maybe we rush for 400, 500 yards in a game and we're talking to the media after. I just want to talk about how great the offensive line was. And then the article comes out the next day and it just talks about the running backs and how many yards they got. So we can use our own Instagram to control the narrative, right? Recognition days, a great way to win support. Mother's Day, when that happens, we'll make a post and we'll talk about how valuable mothers are to our program. The military, International Women's Day, you name it. Listen, every day is a national or international something day. Something we've seen on Instagram recently is like when it's International Pancake Day, people want to make a post about their offensive line, which I think is great. Bottom line, it comes down to the more people you have on your side, the easier it is to grow your program. And I truly believe that if you have another team's coach, that has an axe to grind with you, or a teacher that doesn't like what you're doing, it makes it so much more difficult. And what Instagram has allowed us to do is to kind of win them over, show what our program is actually about. A lot of them, have a stereotypical view of a win at all cost coach, and that's not what we do. So a lot of eyes get open when they see us post about this stuff. And, sometimes we'll even shower people with kindness to get them on our side. And it's been a really good tool. So here's us going on a field trip to our local armory. We have a coach who's pretty high ranking in the military, and he sets this up for us. And our guys go and do some military training. They do presentations on leadership. It's excellent. We do a team meal. So of course we're going to hype that up. Okay. Relay for Life for a fundraiser for cancer research. It was a huge event at our school. We have some football players that participate. Here's our football guys leading the way at the annual Santa Claus parade in our community, right? Great stuff, helping school culture. Absolutely, we want that out there. Here's some of our current and former players that got business grants from our locally. So we're trying to pump up their local businesses, encouraging people to use their business in the summer, talking about, how great these guys are, fine young men. This is a big one for us. We're blessed to have one of the best physiotherapists in our region work for our team. And when Matt Clevis here, when he first started his practice, he volunteered with us with the hopes of kind of building his practice. Well, now it's bursting at the seams, highly successful. And he's still gracious enough to be on our sidelines and help us. So we praise him any opportunity we can. He came and did some functional movement screens with our athletes. We made a post about that. And, he even gave a couple scholarships to our players at our banquet. It was just unbelievable. So we're absolutely gonna put that on and let people know about it. This was a big one too for us, and I think I might have stole this from Randy Jackson. One of our home games, we have a staff appreciation night, and what we do is we tell every player on our team, go take a selfie with a staff member, your favorite teacher, custodian, secretary. Okay, and then we'll put all those selfies up, and we'll talk about how much we value our staff. We'll have a staff member lead us out with a flag. That's a great thing that's super easy to do, and I'd encourage you to do. This is a really big one for us, is our family appreciation night. And what we do is we have our players, we tell our parents to get there a little bit early, and before pregame, they go into the bleachers, they give their mom a flower, give her a hug, tell them how much they love her. We're playing We Are Family there on the loudspeaker. And then this is probably my favorite picture ever from our program. You can see the love between one of our players and his mother there. And we got You are appreciated, Tupac playing. And we made that post on Mother's Day, which stemmed from this event. So I highly encourage you to do a family appreciation night of some sort if you aren't already. Here's just some cool graphics we use to celebrate our O-line. We're a wing T offense, and we're constantly talking about how 2 of the last 3 league MVPs played guard for us, and we always hype them up. We call them the chain gang. There's a lot of symbolism and meaning behind that in our program. They get special T-shirts. But on Instagram, we can give them, kind of the coverage they deserve, where it's not just about the guys who carry the ball all the time. And kids want to play in our offensive line now. They know it's a big deal to be a part of the chain gang. Academic awards, absolutely put that on there. Every day is something day, right? Here's May the 4th be with you. So we'll have fun with these posts too, right? We have a few posts for stuff. We got any Star Wars nerds, maybe we can get them to buy in. But every day is something. And here's Halloween. This is always a big hit. We just put some funny masks on our players, just some graphics. St. Patrick's Day, Easter. Here's an interesting one. We got a generous donation from a wealthy alumni. We got our own team private jet. Well, this post was made on April 1st, April Fool's Day, but a lot of kids actually thought it was true, right? When Game of Thrones finale was on, we threw this, right? There's a lot of hype around it. Canada Day is a big deal in Canada. Of course, we'll make a post about it. So stay in the media cycle. Like I said, every day is something, but this is also a good way sometimes to win people over. Like our International Women's Day, we'll put a bunch of clips of some of our female athletes doing impressive stuff in the weight room or something. Another way to gain support is, I think, social media is an excellent means of connecting with alumni. Reconnect with past players, celebrate history and tradition. A common thing that on social media you'll see is Throwback Thursday or Flashback Friday. Just throw up a picture of an old team that on those days or some old memorabilia. It allowed us there's a lot of people who live out of town that played for our program that this allows them to still be involved or connect. Things like celebrate past championship teams or legendary players. Something we did when we got our new jerseys a few years ago. The last time our program had great success and won championships was 1991, 92, and I think 96. And not long after that, the jerseys kind of really changed. So when we designed our new jerseys, we said we're paying homage to those championship teams. Now, of course, they're a little bit different. We don't have the wizard sleeves like the old school jerseys, but we got a lot of positive feedback from alumni. And, we started winning games and we did that too. So it was a big hit. Probably the best thing we did, though, to reconnect with alumni was our top 50 all-time team. 2017 was the 50th year reunion of our school. And we decided to make a top 50 players of all time in our program. And we found coaches from the previous eras and we kind of asked them to pick out the top players, and they all got a t-shirt with this logo on it. It was a huge event at halftime. The only issue was some guys who didn't quite make the cut were getting on our case, but overall, incredibly positive event. We had one of the top players give us our pregame speech and lead us out of the tunnel there with the flag. If you have something like this coming up, an anniversary or something in your school, I highly encourage you to do this. Our local media was awesome at building the hype around this event too. Flashback Fridays, Throwback Thursdays, they don't have to be a picture too. Now that I have film not that far back, 2013, we weren't quite as good back then, but we still had some pretty good plays, and we'll put that up there and celebrate it. And it's just a way for alumni to get excited about the history and tradition. The next way Instagram, I think, can really help your program is through networking. It's an excellent way for us to connect with other football programs and coaches, the media, leaders, people that want to support your program. Okay, there's tons of opportunities to grow here through networking. Twitter, like we mentioned earlier, is still king there for, I think, coaches sharing drills and scheme information. But I've seen a surge in Instagram recently, and it's catching up just because there's some features on Instagram that aren't necessarily available on Twitter. So we're learning a lot that way. Things like even just making connections for clinics and maybe filling our schedule with open dates. This platform is built for interaction. So take advantage of it. I talked earlier about tagging businesses. Anytime you buy something, tag that business, develop that relationship. It can result in things that you probably never even considered. Discounts, just all kinds of opportunities. Me speaking here on Coach Pigskin, we talked earlier, me and Nate, this is how we got connected, was through Instagram, right? And a couple of years ago, we bought the online pass, and of course we're going to put that on our Instagram. We're going to talk about how our coaches are always seeking opportunities to get better, and we got opportunities to speak at clinics at universities. Here we helped a team out of the Ottawa region that wanted to start running the wing tee, and they sent us this plaque at the end of the year. Great connections we're making. The media is excellent. We got a pretty good following on Instagram now, so more media outlets want to get us on there because they know we're going to hype it up on our Instagram, which can result in more traffic for them. And what it allows us to do, here we had a podcast in these, and now I can pick out maybe that 30-second snippet of, man, that was something pretty good we said. It's not much, but once in a while we'll get something pretty good that can really sell our program. I'll put that one little 30-second snippet as the post on our Instagram, right? So that's been great for us, networking with the media and getting more exposure and just content. Here's a few examples, like Scheme, Coach Dan Casey. I know he's pretty active on Twitter. He's got excellent stuff. You want D-line drills and fundamentals, Coach BT Jordan's excellent. Leadership, culture stuff, the guys at Focus 3, strength and conditioning. There's so much good information. Some bad stuff out there too, but Joe DeFranco is the guy who's really influenced what we do in our program. He puts excellent content up there, but the advantage of that great content is my ability to share it with our players. So these are just screenshots of some DMs I had with with some of our defensive linemen, right? I was talking to one of our players about how we thought the club swim move would be a really good move for him to have as one of his main moves. So I show him this clip, and it's slow motion and has a breakdown of the move. So it's easy to share that information with them. There's so much good content out there now. Probably the best example, though, of us networking or taking advantage of networking on Instagram is our relationship with Angus Reid. I think some of you may know him. He's the author of Thank You, Coach, which has been a really popular book in football circles. He's an incredible speaker, world-renowned speaker now. He's had a couple TED Talks. Somehow, I don't know, we followed him or commented, and he checked out some of our posts, and he loved what he saw. And eventually we were sending him some Korah football shirts, and next thing you know, he's wearing them in his home workouts, and he's saying, this one's for you guys at Korah football for motivating me. This is great. Our kids love this. A lot of our kids follow him now, and he posts excellent content. So it's been an incredible relationship, and for our kids to see him wearing Korah football gear doing these things has been great. And he's even said he's willing to maybe speak to our program in the future, which would be incredible. The final way I would say that Instagram has really impacted our program is it's improved our relationships with our players and our communication. Something I've always kind of been envious of other sports, like say a basketball or a hockey. They'll only have 8 to 12, 15 players on their roster, and it's much easier to get to know those players and develop meaningful relationships with them. Whereas in a football program, you've got 40 plus athletes on your roster, your whole program, closer to 90. It's really hard to get to know these kids well. There's just not enough time in the day. But what Instagram has allowed us to do, we follow our players, and if something important or special happens in their life, they'll usually make a post about it. And then I can see that, right? They're going on a family vacation, they'll post a picture. They bought a new car, they'll post a picture. And then I can talk to them, and I just have a window into their personal lives, which gives us something to talk about outside of football, which I think is so important. Could be something negative. Maybe I'll see a guy posting some pictures, they're hanging out with the wrong crowd. It's an opportunity for us to kind of get in front of that and see what's going on in that kid's life. But ultimately, it improves our connection and builds trust with players, and it's an excellent tool for that. On top of that, just the basic program communication. Like I said, I send our schedule out through another means. Not as many people see it. I send it on Instagram. It gets way more views or reaches far more people. With our players too, communication through DMs or Instagram stories, much more effective. Okay, so here's a post of one of our players. He got a new car, right? I never would have known that, but I started talking about his car, and it was a good chat I had with that kid. Okay, here's we have a kid on our JV team. I had no idea there's this huge subculture about backflips and flipping. He's into it, and I didn't know. I love that he posts his face plants too. I think he lands this one, but when he landed his first actual flip, not on a trampoline, I was there giving him a high five and hyping it up. These guys in our program started their own Instagram page called Lifting Units. Okay. And I love it. And whenever one of them gets a 5 or 6 of them, whenever they do something impressive in the weight room, they put it on that page. Awesome. Great stuff. Okay. And have fun. This is us. I think we were up pretty big in this game. in the fourth quarter. So we give the ball to an O lineman here and he scores a touchdown, right? We have some fun with it. Yeah, you'll remember that forever, and so will we as coaches. Memes are a huge thing on the internet. So here's our two local rival schools. There's their mascots, and we have you versus the guy she told you not to worry about, which is a common meme. And we have a picture of our 1992 alumni, long hair, jean jackets and all, right? So the kids got a good laugh out of that. Other extracurriculars, post it, right? This was a huge win we had in our playoff basketballs. We had a buzzer beater, and you know, I'm trying to remember to get footage, but the guy was a little over the top, but they loved this footage from the sideline of the celebration afterwards. Okay, and just basic communication, our schedules, any fundraisers, get it out there. It's a great way to spread the word. I put this one up here. If any of you coaches know who this is, well, hats off. This is a little Uzi Vert. He's a rapper, but I guess recently he dropped a double album, and apparently that was a huge deal for the kids in our program. So a lot of them are posting the album cover art and putting countdowns there. So excited. So I took the cover art, threw a few of our guys on it, threw a helmet on it, and next thing you know, they think I'm cool. I'm down with Lil Uzi Vert, right? Kids loved it. They got a kick out of it. And we put a little, you know, how fire is this slider? They can vote to make it a little bit interactive. Just developing a rapport with our kids. It's just such a powerful tool to do that. So a few final tips here as we get close to wrapping this up. I can't emphasize enough how important it is to have photographers and videographers at games. We had a game that was pouring rain this year and we didn't get good pictures, and it's kind of killing me we didn't get pictures, a bunch of pictures from that game. But I mentioned, you know, you have your typical game film, but something we started doing is we gave a camera to an injured player on our sideline. And we were getting that sideline perspective. And man, was there ever some really cool footage there that we could use for Instagram posts, you know, jumping in the huddle and celebrating after the games, or just hearing the sounds from the sideline. So I'd encourage you to do that, is get a sideline video too, if possible. The better the media you have it, though, you know, the more powerful it is a tool to work with. Use all available media and tools. I think something Instagram does a great job of is they adapt. They're constantly coming out with new features, especially in the stories where you have these countdown clocks, polls, ratings. Take advantage, use all those tools. Get PNG transparents of your athletes and logos. What that means is I'll have a picture of one of our players with no background. So it's just like a cutout perimeter of our player. Then I can superimpose our player on other graphics. You can make some really cool features with that. So try and get those. And use photo edits and video edits to reward and motivate. If we have a player who's really doing good things in our program, sometimes we'll make like a special graphic or a video edit with them in it, almost as like a reward, right? Like, and I'll show you some of those in a minute. What tools do we use? Well, this VidStitch is basically an app that you can use to make a collage of videos. Remember, attention spans are short, so it's just a way to fire a lot of info at them to keep them locked in for at least those 7 seconds. But this is by far the most, the InShot is the app we use the most. It allows us to put our graphics and text over video. You can also use it to put your graphics and text over pictures, but definitely recommend that. I think it's only like $5, but we use this for the majority of our posts. Some of our graphics are made in PowerPoint too. This is a new one we got that's super cool. We're really creating some next level graphics and posts. And I know it's good because I had a few university coaches ask us how we made some of these graphics we posted recently. It's called Pixaloop. It's a little pricier app, but it's so simple to make really high level apps on it. Here's just a couple examples. So these literally took 2 minutes to make, and they're pretty cool to look at, right? Pixaloop is the name of that app. Finally here, what are the next steps for us with our Instagram account? Well, I talked about Gary Vee and how he used cross-platform posting. We should probably need to do a better job of this. You know, TikTok, I heard a coach talk about this recently saying, I'm a grown man, I'm never going to make a TikTok, but I did claim the name Korah Football on TikTok. I haven't posted there yet, but that's maybe a quarantine or a coronavirus project, I can look into start making how to make TikToks for our program. The kids are there. I guarantee you there's some programs doing it and getting positive results from it. So that's something we're going to look into, right? But ultimately, we're just scratching the surface. I know I'm presenting to you on this. And again, I'm someone who's only been on social media for 3 years. And when I just did some research on the stuff that Gary Vee's doing, man, there's so much potential to market yourself and grow yourself that, again, we're just scratching the surface. Some other things, managing all this, it does take a bit of time. Possibly we can get our ComTech classes and even our sports marketing classes to help us produce content. I know some schools have like huddle class where the class students just do all their huddle work. If we can get maybe some of these classes to help us with some of our edits and content, that'd be great. Greater use of the highlight stories in the bio page. I actually worked on this, improving this on our profile page since this presentation. But if you go and see the profile, you can put a few key things that pop out at you, which we took advantage of. And finally, expanded use of IGTV. That's kind of their response to YouTube, where you can post long form video. So we put like our 20-some minute highlight video on there. It can be accessed through Instagram TV. So maybe getting some more long form content on there as well. I know that was a lot we threw at you there, coaches. Again, thank you for listening. We're really proud of where our program is. And like I said, Instagram is not the main reason, but it's really helped amplify a lot of the things that did contribute to our success. Before I end off here, I absolutely have to thank my wife and our 2 beautiful children. None of this would be possible without them and their patience for the time we put into our program. They're fully bought in. So thank you to them, absolutely. If you want to get in contact with me, if you have any questions, there's my email address, tomannett@yahoo.com. Or you can DM us on Instagram. We're at Korah Football. So thank you. Go Colts. TPW.
Coach, thank you. Wow. Man, that was, that covered it all. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you great. That's
okay, good.
Worried it might be too long.
No, oh my goodness, that was so good. Gosh, I think I was a little blown away just like how everything was covered. As we were going, I had a couple questions jotted down, and then you ended up hitting on all of them. So, especially the last question I had was like, what are you using to create some of these? And you got to that in like that Pixaloop app. I noticed those your posts in the last couple of weeks.
Yes.
Got this extra little flair to them. And you showed them at the end. I'm like, oh, this is new, but I really like that. That thing's pretty slick. How much does that Pixaloop app cost?
It was a little pricier. I think it cost $20 some for like a year subscription, but man, the graphics are unbelievable. And like I said, I had a couple of university coaches ask me how we did some of those. And then literally those are done in like a couple minutes. It's so simple. So I think it's worth the investment to help promote your program.
Absolutely. I'm sold. I mean, when I look at that, I'm like, we say expensive because we're so used to apps. Everything apps is free, like in our mind, right? So we think a lot about a $5 app. That sounds like an expensive app, but think about what we spend $5 on all the time. And then you're talking about this thing, $25, but how much do those kids love those new posts? They have to love those things.
Oh yeah, they do. Like before you'd have to have like Photoshop to do something like that.
Right.
Hundreds of dollars, right? And you kind of got to be an expert on how to use it. This app just is producing similar quality, unbelievable graphics, and it takes a couple minutes. So for a fraction of the price.
Man, so tell me, are you creating all these posts or you have a team? Is it you and your staff?
Well, it is just me. It is just me. It'd be nice to expand it a bit. I do like, not that I'm like a control freak, but you don't want something going on there that's not kind of approved by me, I guess I would say.
Right.
So it is an investment. It does take some time, but like I said, for the presentation, I think it's well worth it, seeing all the benefits.
Well, I mean, you sold me. It was something that I had been convinced of a year ago, as I said, when I did that survey, and that's when I started my team Instagram account. And we had a ton of great feedback on that. And like you said, the biggest benefit we saw was being able to hype up the weight room, man, and getting that work in, right? And they wanted to be on it. Yes. One little thing, we had put a post that our kids had to be there at 6 a.m. It happened to be for wrestling, but, just holding up a watch that said 5:59 a.m. and you see guys jump roping in the background. And it was like a 10-second video, but it was powerful. And those kids that were there were super proud that, yeah, I was there at 5:59 a.m. jumping rope. But it's amazing. And you're right. I liked how you said it's only cool if we do it, right? Like they get to brag. They know that other people are seeing the work they're putting in, and you're doing that for them. You're hyping up your own guys. And let's face it, our guys deserve to be hyped up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, I touched on the aspect of university coaches watching too. And I mean, like I said, progress is the best motivator. When they see other people noticing what they're doing and talking to them about it, you know, that's a powerful thing.
Man, well, I hope that a lot of coaches are going to look at this and go, okay, it's time for me to start. And if you're looking at a guy who's, okay, he's a rookie, what do you think the first thing he should do is, let's say he's a rookie, he's not going to be as committed to it as you are time-wise, design-wise. What would be like the first thing? Okay, listen, the more you do this, you'll get better at it, but start with this. Just post this. What would be your recommendation?
Just start would be my best advice. Like our first few posts were just, you know, not that good. They were just a picture.
Yeah.
And, you know, I can't remember the quote, but it's, you know, a not perfect plan executed now is better than a perfect plan executed later. Just start. You'll learn as you go. It will get easier. Yeah, just start posting stuff. Anything good. Just post a workout, someone doing something impressive in the weight room, put it up there. And you'll see it gets easier and you'll get more and more followers and more buy-in. Well,
Coach, blown away. I love your taste in music too. I could see a lot of some of the old names and the guys that I can tell you know well. Love some of your commentary on that. I just got a huge kick out of the presentation as a whole, so I want to make sure you know that. Before I sign off, I had one other question that came to mind that didn't have to do with Instagram. You said you're a wing T guy, but you got 12 guys. Where do you put your extra guy?
All over the place.
Right. Sure.
Yeah, we're only 3 years in doing it. And it's interesting because I talked earlier in the presentation about how we only had 24 guys that 1 year in 2016. Prior to that, we were a big spread no huddle team. And it was out of necessity where we said, man, we have to slow the game down to give our guys a chance. Everyone's playing both ways. And we were blown away by the wing T. Like we had so much success doing it because no one around here ran it either. Sure. Then we said, well, now we have more players. Do we abandon it? No way. Look how great it was with fewer players. Look what we can do. And we've adapted a bit now, and it's still wing T, I guess, what some people would call more hybrid wing T. But it's been phenomenal for us. And I just want to shout out your site has been a huge influence in us doing that, especially the resources, you know, the DMAC and the Coach Johnson series from Pioneer, I believe it was. Mm-hmm. Those were incredible. I mean, those are our Bibles. That's kind of what taught us how to do it. Yeah. Wow. That's great to hear, man. I'm glad that you've made good use of it. And thanks for keeping up with us. And thanks so much for sharing today. My pleasure, Nate. Man, anything else to add before I sign us off? You know, it's going to be Go Colts TPW. Well, I hope that all you guys enjoyed this. Coach, obviously, I mean, it was just a great clinic start to finish. Like Coach said, get started. I'm recommending it, and this guy's recommending it way more, and he's winning a lot more than I am or ever did. So thanks so much, Coach. Thank you guys for watching, and hopefully we see you soon.